Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at our favorite video of the day, player props, on a pretty nice Wednesday night slate here. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page and check out the other couple videos we have for you up today with a pretty big slate, as we mentioned. Nate's got his great article up on playpicks.com with some best bets and player props in there as well. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight's player props. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm going to look at that Lakers game, which we break down in an episode, and give some love to Malik Monk, who has been a primary reason for the Lakers turnaround, spreading the floor alongside LeBron, averaging 20 points per game while hitting 48% of his triples over his last 7 games. In his last 5, that production has led to an increased usage rate, now over 22%. And he's averaged 22 points per game while shooting 57% from 3, hitting 16 triples in 3 meetings with Sacramento, which is not a good defensive team, does not guard the three-point line well at home. So it seems like easy money here at plus 106 for him to hit 3 triples as long as he doesn't go ice cold. You can go big on that and say, you know what, he's going to hit 5 triples and the Lakers are going to win and get plus 1,100, which Josh pointed out in that video. He's hit 6 triples in consecutive games against the Kings. It's not out of the question at all. Or you can be a little more conservative, just say that 20 points, his average in a win, plus 320 there. Can go even more conservative and say 17 and a half. He's going to get over that. He had been consistently getting 20 points, went a little cold against Memphis, but as we talked about yesterday, Memphis has the best 3-point defense in the league at home over their now 10-game win streak. So I think the Lakers are getting very undervalued in general because they've lost to Memphis twice during this 7-game span, but otherwise they've been lights out. He's been lights out, and I'm going to keep riding that wave.
Totally. Yeah. In his last 8 alone, he's averaging 20 points, and LeBron's assists are up in that time frame as well. Not surprisingly, a bunch of those going to Malik Monk behind the line. And he's really become his consistent 3-point wing shooter that he knows he can get it to. And it's not just the situations that he's faced in the past with guys like maybe like a Mo Williams, where it's like just shoot it or pass it. Malik Monk is getting to the rim. We talked about he's a pretty big 6'5", 2 guard there that can score in a variety of ways, but he's so insanely fire hot from deep right now. I'd be attacking any one of those 3-pointers made and a win, or those 3-pointers, but that 17.5 points feels like a lock for a guy who at this point is the second best scorer on a team that's got the best offensive rating in the league in over the last 10 and even more. So I feel really good about Malik Monk, a guy that we found a little bit early, I think, and have stayed on him, and it's really paid off for us. So moving to a guy who I think might have some trouble scoring tonight and getting rebounds and assists, Trae Young. Not someone you love to take unders against, but you might be able to find some value here with his points, rebounds, and assists total at 40.5. Feels a little bit high against Miami. The 2 reasons I'm looking at: 1, it's Miami. He doesn't play well against them, and they are one of the best defenses. Let me make it 3 reasons. 2, Kyle Lowry is playing for the Heat, and he does not play well against Kyle Lowry. He has decent numbers in terms of scoring in 7 career games. He's got 24, 8, and 3, but all of that is on a higher usage rate than normal. It's actually below his career averages as well, which would not get him close to that 40 PRA. And really, those rebounds, there's incredible rebounding guards such as Kyle Lowry for Miami tonight means a lack of ability for Trae Young to get in there as much. No Capella is the 3rd reason. He's not playing tonight, and that's a big loss for Trae, whose game is, we know he does from 3, but his game, especially over the last season or 2, he's actually decreased his 3-point attempts and increased his shots at the rim. He gets all those assists by getting into the lane and throwing lobs to Capella off the pick and roll. None of that tonight. We'll see if, they use John Collins in that role, but he's not the same roller that Capella is going to the rim. He's actually a little bit more pick and pop. So I don't like him to get those numbers, without Capella in the last 2 seasons, in 8 games, he's averaging 22, 9 assists and 3 boards, though, on bad splits. Again, worse and less free throw attempts, as he's not getting into the lane nearly as much with those screen and rolls. All those numbers are at about, a point, rebound, and assist total of about, 32. well under the 40.5 that is listed for him tonight. And his last two versus Miami, just to finish it off, 16, 9, and 5 are his averages, right? Getting you about 30 points, rebounds, and assists. Nowhere near that. So I really like him to go under tonight. And maybe, I know the Hawks don't play much defense, but Miami does. And so this game will probably be a little bit lower scoring. Miami doesn't give up points or rebounds to opposing point guards as well. One reason they've been so good against a guy like Trae Young, they're number one in the league in both those categories. So it seems like a prime time to take an under for Trae.
Wow, just 16 points per game, in his last two. And he's sitting at 27.5 for a points prop straight up. Also 9.5 for the assist prop. Miami's been giving up a few more assists lately, but I think, you're right. They're going to have his number he's going to be a biggest part of the game plan here. And Kyle Lowry is pretty good at executing that. Also, Trae's numbers are slightly lower at home versus on the road. And Atlanta only averaging 108 in their last 8 against Miami, dropping 5 of those games. It's hard to imagine a blowout game, a blow-up game here from Trae Young. Looking at a team that always seems to give blow-up games is the Houston Rockets. A fantastic target here on player props recently. They're giving up 124 points per game, allowing opponents to shoot 50% from the floor, and giving up a league-high 28.6 assists per game in their last 10 here. The Spurs continue to rank 6th in offensive efficiency at home. They won't have some key guards, though. I believe they will still be out due to protocol. Derek White, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Doug McDermott. Maybe McDermott's back by now, but that's not going to affect much playing time for Lonnie Walker, who's going to slot right into that White role alongside DeJounte Murray. Walker has done that in 3 games now, posting a 31% usage rate, getting 53 points over those 3, and his usage rate went all the way up to 35% at the Knicks. That's a tough team to score on. The Rockets are not, and 17.5 points is pretty low for a guy who's going to be a primary option on a team that is 6th in offensive efficiency at home. Previous game, he dropped 25 on Brooklyn. Pretty impressive there. The man is a bucket. He can get it going from inside or out. And I wouldn't mind tacking on the assists here because of his expanded ball handling role here. And because of how much production Houston's given up all around, you can just tack on 3 assists, make it 20.5, and you're still getting about the same odds for Lonnie Walker there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game tonight where I expect points, and more points. There's a few of those, Nets and Bulls, even in the other video we talked about. But this one especially, you look at the Spurs at home hitting the over at home at a clip at about 86%. The Rockets playing defense at a clip of about 0%. You got to like this. And then Lonnie Walker should be in the game, even if this does turn ugly somewhat quickly. You expect Lonnie Walker to continue to get minutes. As you mentioned, he's only been back for 3 games since COVID. Definitely still getting his conditioning in. Definitely still a young guy that deserves minutes, even, especially with a lot of guys out, is going to get minutes even to the fourth quarter if this is, a 15, 20-point blowout even at that point. So, Houston could keep it close, but either way, I like Lonnie Walker. 17.5 points feels really good for him tonight. And then lastly, going to go ahead and take advantage of a guy we haven't talked about in a little bit, LaMelo Ball. I'm feeling good about either his points, rebounds, and assists at 33.5 or over his point total at 19.5 on FanDuel. I think for him, he's getting a little bit of a value in terms of taking the over for him because, since coming back from COVID, his numbers haven't quite reached that 33.5 PRA at 18 points a game, 6.5 assists, 6.5 boards. So just under, and he's really only been playing about 28.5 minutes in those games. But you expect that to go up a bit, especially when he's playing against the Eastern Conference. He's in the last 11 versus the Eastern Conference in games that, they're looking to win and maintain a position in the Eastern Conference standings. He's averaging 22 points, about 8 boards and 8 assists. So that gets you, over that 33.5 PRA. And really, like I mentioned, he's coming back from COVID. But, in his last 11, those 20.5 minutes per game seem a little bit down. But in his last 3, all of that stuff has gone up. And all of his averages would get you over that 33.5 points, rebounds, assist combo, including, upping his minutes about 3 minutes more a game and his usage rate back up to about 28.5%, which is why I do like the points a lot lot at 19.5. He's been getting over 20 in games where they're really trying to win and they're not, and it's like we said, a big matchup in the Eastern Conference. Those are the games where he's coming out and showing out. And I think that, he can get those ancillary stats tonight as well. So he'll be all over the floor and important for them tonight in this one.
Yeah, this is a game I kind of wanted to talk about in a full video with the Sixers on a 7-game win streak, and the Hornets, they always seem to step up when the other team is getting a lot of spotlight, with LaMelo kind of leading that charge. I would look at betting this game in betting the over, which is now only at 225. You looked at how much these teams went over in their first meeting in December, and LaMelo didn't even play. And when he's out there, their offensive rating skyrockets. Their defensive rating also gets worse. Yeah. So you can parlay the Hornets money line with the over here and get plus 420, or take the points at 5 and get about plus 270. I like all those angles. And I like the all around production from LaMelo, given the fact that he probably will play around 36 minutes tonight. And there's no Ben Simmons, which, affects his career numbers against the Sixers. And now he gets to work on Seth Curry and Tyrese Maxey and whoever else is out there.
Yeah, and this is not Ben Simmons' 76ers. This is a really good offensive team as of late and not as good of a defensive team as late. They're a team that now can spread the floor with more shooters and players. But yeah, I like all the angles there for that Charlotte game and LaMelo to get his. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. Looking for a little bit of a bounce back tonight. Had a tough night last night. A few guys missing their props that we picked by about 1 point or rebound, etc. So look to get back into the running tonight with this one and keep those units up and that record really, really high. And until we see you next, happy betting.